Hey traders, Cecil Robles here, and instead of doing the live trading recording up on the website, since it's so long, I'd rather do a kind of a recap of the session, and so that's what I'm going to do in this video today is a recap of today's session, the trades that we made and how they panned out, and then we'll talk also about just some other currencies as well. So let me start out with the trades that we made. We made a trade on the Australian dollar, and we will look at that trade first. And we actually bought the Australian dollar, and I'll tell you why here in just a second as I get the charts to where I need them to. So first of all, the first thing that we do is we look at the daily chart, okay? And on the daily chart, the idea behind this particular buy trade was really simple. Yesterday, and I'm recording this at night. So yesterday on the 6th, or on the 5th rather, of August, we had what we call a reversal on the daily chart. You can see the stochastic is there and all of that. It's down in the oversold area. We had a real steep pull away down here, and the idea now is that we've got this short-term low right here that formed. When that formed at the break of this high, that kind of gives us an indication that this market wants to turn up, and I really do believe that this market is overdue for a correction. We've seen over 1,700 pips of a move from the top of this move back in April all the way until now, and it's been pretty much a straight downtrend market. So really do anticipate at least a 500 to 600 pip correction here, which would bring us back up to this level or maybe just a little bit higher than this level. I don't think that there's going to be an overall trend change, but I do think that we're going to see a good correction here. So that really made us start looking and saying, okay, what is the 4-hour chart doing now? And on the 4-hour chart, you'll notice that we actually had, on the 4-hour chart, we had a green momentum histogram right here, and that occurred on this bar, and that's when we got into the market this morning. And then we saw this pullback. This was the bar that we got in the market on, and then of course we're going off the previous bar. So we saw the momentum, okay, change over from down to up. Now it only changed over one bar. It hadn't been changed over for that long. But you see, that gave us the indication that we want to be buying this market today, not selling it. And so that's exactly what we did. We bought this particular market. And if we go over now to the 15-minute chart, I'm going to show you the entry that we actually made on this particular chart. And we made that entry based on what we call a Cadillac trade setup. We had the TRC indicator down here into the oversold level below the negative 80. And then we had it come back above right here in correspondence with this green histogram bar on the momentum bars 50, and that corresponded with this candle right here. And that would mean that we would be able to place a buy above this high, and that's exactly what we did. We placed a buy a couple of pips above that high. Now we put our stop loss down a couple pips below this low right here, and you can see that it actually, price did come back and it touched this area here, but we were using our anti-spike on this, and so if you were in this, you didn't get stopped out on that, and then the market, of course, eventually rallied around the other way, and so that was the trade that was made. And basically I said follow the 2 orange line close. So if you get 2 closes below the orange line, then what happens is you move your stop. So here you had 1 close, here you had another close. Let me just clear this out so you can see. Here we had 1 close, so we were trading above the money line, the orange line. And then we had price came back down. We had 1 close there, 2 closes there. That means we move our stop up from this point right here up to this point right here, and the market continued to go up. And then finally we had another 1, 2 closes right here. We move our stop, and eventually we get stopped out right here. All right, so not too big of a profit here because we entered right here. Okay. But at least, you could have turned it into a winning trade and not a losing trade. All right, so that was the first trade that we made. Let's look at the second trade, which was on the dollar yen, and I'll pull up all of these charts. And the dollar yen, of course, is in a downward structure market. We're in a seller's market right now. So we're in a seller's market right now, And we know that because we've had an intermediate term high form right here, short-term high here, short-term high here, gives us an intermediate term high on the daily chart. Another short-term high here was formed back on Monday. And of course, the downward pressure is continuing. Now we've taken out these short-term lows right here, and we're expecting price to drop down. Look at this big wide open market that we have all the way until we get down to this level, which is a support level here. And so we've got a big wide open market, and we could really possibly take advantage of this and see some big profits out of this on a down run. So really we're selling this market right now. We've got momentum on the daily chart that has shifted over and gone to the downside, so we're selling that. Let's look at the 4-hour chart, and we'll kind of cover that as well. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that, of course, all of the momentum on the 4-hour chart is down, and it's been down here. It shifted down in correspondence with this candle right here. And, of course, we've had now a intermediate term high form right here because we have a short-term high right here, or rather a short-term high right here and a short-term high right here. We also have a short-term high right here, and now, like I said, we've broken down below this support level right here. So we're looking for this market to continue to go down. That means that we are selling, and that's exactly what we did this morning on the 15-minute chart. If I'll now go to the 15-minute chart, and you'll see the area that we sold at, and we sold this market on a first break. And let me just expand it up here a little bit so you can see. So we sold this market on a first break trade, and that first break actually happened right here. So we saw the market, we were looking to get in right down here below this low. It didn't quite get us in because we had it set a couple pips below that, and it rallied back up, and it gave us actually a better entry point right here. So we moved that. We actually changed our stop loss to this point as well, and then you can see the market rapidly dropped. Now, if you were in the room, then I said that the good place to take your profit, if you reach that level, would be at the 161.8 of this retracement here, because we broke this low right there. We didn't actually make it down there at that particular time. Now we've made it down there since then, but we would have already been out of this market here at this time. So we made it down there in the Asian session. And if you were trading the Asian session, then you were able to make money on this as well. But essentially, what we did was we follow what we call the money line, and the money line is when you're trading below the money line, you're in a short trade. We got in here. You're trading below the money line. You wait for 2 closes back above the money line, and we actually got that right here on this particular candle, and that would have stopped us out right there at that point. So basically, we made a profit from here to here with a stop loss from here to here. So not a bad trade there, at least close to a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, and you can't beat that any day of the week. The market just didn't continue to go down for us here, and just rallied back up at the kind of the close of the session there. So anyways, that's that particular trade, and that one panned out pretty good for us. Now let's go to the pound dollar. The pound dollar is the third trade that we took. And we will look now at the pound dollar. We're kind of in a crazy place here on the pound dollar, and the reason is because we've literally, we've been in this up move, and then we've just been literally bouncing around ever since. And we had a short-term low form right here at the break of this high, and that basically gives us an indication to be buying. Here we had a short-term high that formed, and then we had this low get broken right here. That really gave us an indication back last week to be selling, but now we're looking at buying this market. And as you can see, today we had another high form right here. It had a high, and if we get broken below this low, that's going to produce another short-term high, which means that this now will turn into an intermediate term high, and more than likely we're going to see price drop from this particular point. So we may be looking to sell this market into tomorrow or into Thursday, just depending on exactly what sets up here. If we get a breakout above this level, okay, then that gives us an indication to buy. and buy for the long term, definitely. So we'll just have to kind of play it and see what happens here. Let's look at the 4-hour chart now. And we'll pull this one up. And on the 4-hour chart, obviously, you can see that the momentum is all to the upside. So you can see right here, all to the upside. It shifted right here when we had this short-term low form, really a reversal trade right here on the 4-hour chart. And the price really shifted towards the upside. So we're really not looking at taking any short trades until we at least get breaks below this area right here, because you have a short-term low here that is formed, and so we really need a break below that low, and we need to see that momentum shift over. And so that hasn't happened yet, and so the 4-hour is still to the upside for sure, no doubt about that. And so we'll be looking at taking sell trades in this market. Taking buy trades in this market at this particular point. And now let's look at the 15-minute chart and see the actual trade that we made today. And that trade was based on a first break as well. We could have possibly taken another trade on a slingshot setup that basically we got right here at this point. We got a slingshot on this particular market, and then we had a close above that area. But what I said was, let's wait until we get a close above that slingshot, and then let's buy above that high where we get the close. And sure enough, we did. We had a short-term low form right here, short-term low form right here, short-term low form right here. That turns that into an intermediate term low. Anytime you get an intermediate term low on a chart or a high on a chart, then you know that the market is going to begin to move in that direction, at least for the short term, and that's exactly what happened. So we took this trade right here, and we were looking to go back above these highs right here. That actually didn't happen, and basically the same thing with the dollar yen. We were looking for a fib extension of 161.8, which would have put us quite a ways up. It would have put us up here at the 154, and I said 154.19 area is probably a good place to take profits if you're going to take profits. 154.19, right around that area. We didn't quite make it up to that high. We made it up here, and then we had this candle closed at a close of 153.71.8, and our money line at that particular time was at. Let's just look at the data window real quick. Our money line at that time was at 153.71.5. So we had a close of 153.71.8. So it actually did close below that. So then we had 2 closes right here. That gives us an opportunity to move our stop at that point. So we move our stop up. Initial entry above this high, move the stop up to right here. Once again, not very big profits, but we didn't have a loss in this trade, okay? So, as long as we don't have a loss, and we're doing pretty good. Now, we've got to wait until tomorrow to see what happens. Now, tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm not trading on Wednesday, so, we'll just kind of see what happens going forward. I'm not doing short-term trading on Wednesday. We'll see what happens going forward in this market. Of course, trades to look for. The euro dollar is still in an up pattern, an up move here. We've had a break above this high right here and a close above this high on the daily chart. This is a short-term low right here that formed, and we've had a close above that area now. So we're looking for this market to continue back up, and we'll see if that happens. Right now we're taking buy trades, and today there were several buy trades. There was one here, obviously, in the London session. Then we drop back down here, and in the right at around the beginning of the New York session, right here at 14:30, 14:45, 1500. This would have been 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We actually had a reversal right here that we could have taken, we should have taken, and we just didn't see that in time. And it broke out above that level, and then it came back down. We had one close below the orange line, didn't get 2 closes below the money line there. Then we had 1 close, 2 closes below the money line. We move our stop. This was also a major reversal right here at that particular point. And then once you can either do it one of two ways. You can move your stop at the two closes below the money line, because the money line was 133.073 and the close was 133.078. So actually this one didn't close below. This one closed below. This one closed below. That would give us an opportunity to move our stop at that point. Or as soon as you had this close below this low right here, of course that was then making this a short-term high. And that would have given you, obviously, an indication to get out. Plus, at that time, it's already late in the afternoon. So, nonetheless, we're still looking for buy trades in here. If we get buy trades, then that's what we're taking on the euro dollar. There were some good trading opportunities in there that we just missed out on, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens. And other than that, there's good stuff happening. Obviously, in the euro yen, pound yen. Are all sellers markets. Dollar yen's a seller's market. Euro pound is a buyer's market. Dollar CAD right now, short term, is a buyer's market, but we'll look for this to actually roll over to the downside and continue this downward pressure here. We've got open room to the downside, of course, if we break below this area right here. So we'll look for that to happen, look for that to transpire. If it doesn't happen and we continue this upward movement here on the daily chart, then obviously we're in a buyer's market. On the 4-hour chart, we're in a buyer's market. And on the dollar CAD, we are in a buyer's market on the 15-minute chart. So basically looking for buy trades. Those buy trades, obviously, today, they happened a lot. Now, the dollar CAD moves a lot in the in the London session. So by the time you get to New York, this market had already moved up a pretty good ways. There really wasn't any good trading opportunities for us here in the New York session to buy this market. So we stayed away from it. But there are buying opportunities now. So if you're looking to buy, or if you're looking to trade the dollar CAD and there's a really good setup with a nice reward to risk ratio, then that's a good idea to trade that. All right, that's our recap for today. Hope you got something out of it, and we'll talk to you soon.